Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. I am Ofra Caraballo, and I get to be your platform assistant today. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Is anybody new? Any new people? Hi. Good morning. If you will keep your hand up, an usher will bring you a packet. I'm going with it. I see you, and I'm going with it. And to you on Zoom, good morning. Welcome to Happy Winter Wonderland. I want to invite you to settle in because we are in for a glorious ride. So if you would just take a sacred breath with me. One more. One last time. In this place of intention, I want to give thanks for every soul in this room, every soul streaming in on Zoom this morning and in the future. It is the perfect now. We give thanks for Reverend Tracey's yes. We give thanks that she allows herself to be a vessel of the divine. We give thanks that we know who we are and we come here to celebrate that knowing. And so it is.
It's 9 degrees outside, so let's warm our hands up by clapping them, okay? So we're going to follow me. We're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, keep going. Here we go. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. You know the words. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
going to jump right into the daily word. I bring my zeal and passion to life. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote in his 94th year, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. His example shows me that regardless of my age or station in life, zeal is a divine gift, a part of me, always mine to call upon. Through it, I feel enthusiastic and energetic about life. I express joy and excitement as I live, love, and share myself through service. I am purposeful, passionate, and positive. I live authentically and make a bold impression on the world. I share my talents and gifts with a spirit of generosity and service. I begin each day with eagerness and end it with gratitude, happy to share my zeal. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come into his presence with singing. Psalm 102. I am available for service, after service for prayer requests in the meditation room. You can also submit a written prayer into our box right out there in the foyer, or leave your request via voicemail on the prayer request line at 719-322-5138. Prayer requests are prayed on by a Unity Spiritual Center chaplain and then sent to Silent Unity for prayer for 30 days.
We're still organizing things just a little bit, but I'm going to ask Mark if he'll put up for us the mission statement. Because for me, it's something I'm learning about the vision that we're holding true for who we are, and I absolutely love this. I'm going to invite you to say it with me before we begin our meditation. We are an affirming, heart-centered community, co-creating spiritual evolution and illuminating pathways to the divine presence. So now I'm going to invite you to close those outer eyes and take a beautiful breath in and gently release out. Another breath in, gently out. For that beautiful power of the divine mind expression and manifestation, one more in and out. We are whole. We are centered. We are present now. Listening to that guidance, that inner voice of the divine, illuminating our personal pathways in our spirit-led and spirit-fed life. And whenever we veer off this path, just a little bit, we have the beautiful souls connected to us and with us that remind us, as Rumi says, we are all just walking each other home. So let us imagine our spiritual home, our spiritual community is filled with that essence of light, of comfort, of wholeness. That if we ever feel lost along the way, we can come right back to center, right back to that divine presence, that intellectual wisdom of the universe. I got your back. I got your back. So let's be in this little place of silence for a few moments, and I'm going to invite you to really feel mind, body, and soul into this holy place, this holy sanctuary, right here, right now. I want you to take another breath in. And in this next space that we go into, I want us to fulfill the world in a healing light. There are those who are mourning this morning. There are those who are crying out to be helped, to be shown the way, to be guided, to be loved, to be seen and valued. We have states in disruption. So let us blanket them in this holy wholeness of light and love. Send that through the ethers to whoever it is that you're thinking about right now, to people you know and don't know, not just our country, but across this world. Let us see unification instead of division. Let us hold in that high consciousness that, as Maya Angelou said, when we know we can do better, we do better. As a country, as humanity, as spirit-led and fed beings, we can hold this higher consciousness that everyone is valued. Everyone is part of this oneness. No separation. Take another breath in. Now we're going to look at the leaders. Let's see within them the divine presence, to go beyond the ego and to remember that we are all one connection. Again, spirit-led and spirit-fed world, whatever that looks like to you. Hold this place, a holy, whole sanctuary where you belong, where I belong, where we belong. Imagine in that powerful mind's eye, a place where we can all gather, all valued, different languages, different cultures, different expressions of how we show up, and we recognize the divine in each and every one of us. For this beautiful prayer and blessing, we say thank you, God, source, infinite intelligence, and so it is. Amen.
It's an honor to be back here at Unity. I'm Jeremy Facknitz, known in these parts as Lindsay's husband. This song's called Breakfast. I come to this cafe every couple days or so, just to wallow neath the cobweb chandelier. The coffee tastes okay, the green chili's just so-so, but the scenery is why I keep coming here. She moves between the tables like a dancer pirouettes, with a grace and quiet strength I've never seen, till she finally floats my way, says, what are we having today? So I crack a joke about her joining me. She says, actually, my shift is coming to an end. Would you mind if I just sat a while with you? Well, it's been a real long night, and I sure could use a friend, just a sympathetic ear to get me through. Would you mind if I had breakfast with you? She shared with me the trials of a single mom of two, with an ex she hasn't heard from in years. And she beat back the cancer, though it left her black and blue, and the pills upon her table soaked in tears. Still she's counting up her blessings, says she loves her job today, 'cause it might just be the best gig she's ever had. Oh, I just sit and listen, 'cause I don't know what to say, but I realize my problems ain't that bad. 'Cause she said, actually, my shift is coming to an end. Would you mind if I just sat a while with you? Yeah, it's been a real long night, and I sure could use a friend, just a sympathetic ear to get me through. Would you mind if I had breakfast? All this time I longed for sunrise to make my day. Turns out I was there to reflect it back her way. Well, I wish that I was able to say we fell in love, having found our happily ever after friend. But when next I took my table, she had quit this job she loved, and I never saw her face ever again. I suppose we never know, all we reap and all we sow, what we mean to all these folks we hang around. But I pray that we see through the lie of who saves who before we're buried deep in common ground. She said, actually, my shift is coming to an end. Would you mind if I just sat a while with you? It's been a real long night, and I sure could use a friend, just a sympathetic ear to get me through. Would you mind if I had breakfast with you? Thanks.
We had a chance to hear that before everybody came. Would you mind if I had breakfast with you? Oh, that was good. Don't make the minister cry when she first gets up here. So I want to share something with you from one of my favorite ministers. You might have heard me mention Reverend Edwin Gaines. And from my doorstep when I lived in Georgia to her doorstep in Valley Head, Alabama, it was 2 hours. So I tried to go as often as I could. And she would have these wonderful workshops, and you would be on her property during the day, and at night you had your little Airbnb, and we would go into town to have lunch. And Edwin said, our job is to bring more harmony into the world. So when you go into town, undoubtedly, someone is going to ask you, are you with that Reverend Edwin Gaines woman? And you're going to say so gently and graciously, well, yes, I am. And that person's going to go, honey, I'm going to pray for you. And you're going to say, yes, I love prayer. Thank you very much. Do not go into any details about what your faith is or what theirs is not. So Edwin shared this wisdom with us at the beginning of one of these workshops. It's called the morning prayer. Dear Lord, so far I've done all right. I haven't gossiped. I haven't lost my temper. I haven't been greedy or grumpy or selfish or even overindulgent. I'm really glad about that. But in a few minutes, God, I'm going to get out of bed. And from then on, I'm going to need a lot more help. Have you ever had those days? And I love her Texas twang and her South Alabama words. But things like that just rest on my heart. And this past week, I am so grateful for those who come forward and say, I need to really talk to you about something on my heart, something that I'm working through, and I've shared with the group that I'm going to try to keep Thursday afternoons open so that you can actually come and spend that time with me. So a mom came to me and shared something very dear to her, and holding that in confidence, I had to really look inside as the minister who's supposed to have all the answers, and yet I don't. I can ask the questions, so you can find your own answers, but when something really deep touches me, I have to go to that mountain. Do you remember when Charles Fillmore would say, I'm going to headquarters? He didn't mean the top of Unity Village. He meant going to his God self. and to kind of be still and quiet. And even when I do that, I'm still looking for wisdom that is beyond my ages. And I have a few ministers in their 80s that I really trust. And I called one the other day, and we had a discussion about this topic. And then lo and behold, a few days passed, yesterday morning, as a matter of fact, and I sort of self-invited myself to the men's group. And graciously, they accepted. And I was very grateful they did a Zoom call versus coming up here to the church, as I'm very much a novice to drive in the snow. And something came out after the men's group where another phone call called me later and shared something that I just needed to be aware of. And I thought, how interesting. When we are in the throes of understanding something on a deeper level, often if we don't have our answer, we get presented with something similar to show us it's time to really pay attention. So I went inside as I was developing the talk today, and I thought, what feels true about this situation? And what feels true in a way that it's not a third-party reaction, but that I can go to source, right? God's source, divine source, and listen to that inner message. And since both of these conversations, one kind of backed up the other, I thought, wow, what are we doing here, God? Like, what's the real message? And then I remember on Thursday, I have a minister's call. And one of the ministers from Pensacola, I really enjoy, and he reminded all of us, I am teachable. So I love to say I'm curious, because that way we keep the doors and the windows open for new ideas, but new ideas only infiltrate us when we claim that we don't know everything. So with me, would you repeat after me, I am teachable. Come on, my Zoomies, you can put it in the chat. I am teachable. So that brought me back to not the Gospel of Reverend Tracey, but the Gospel of John. And I thought, this is very interesting. This is coming up for me. And I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to give you the metaphysical definition. What are we not if teachers and also teachable? So this is, Jesus went to the Mount of Olives, and at dawn he appeared again in the temple courts, where all the people gathered around him, and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery, and the law of Moses commands us to stone her to death. Now, teacher, what do you say?" And Jesus bent down, did not lift his head, and he began writing something in the dirt. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Again, he stooped down to the ground, and he wrote something in the dirt. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, and only Jesus was left in front of this woman. And he straightened up and said, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" And she said, "Yes, sir, no one is here. No one has condemned me." And he said, "Then neither do I condemn you." I thought, wow, heavy, heavy lesson. So when metaphysically we're talking about going up to the mountain, help me out here, what is the mountain? Source. Now you might think it's Pikes Peak and Jesus is going on a hike, but maybe not today. Maybe not today. So when we're going to our higher consciousness, that higher level, we're getting prayed up. And can you imagine, and some of you may do this, if every morning before you got out of bed, before you started causing trouble, you went up to that higher source and you got kind of prayed up. Maybe you know there's something big on your plate this morning, or something could come that you have no idea about. So you go to that place up on the mountain, and Jesus, I'll say, was tapping in. and said, I too am teachable. And then when you go up something, what happens? You must come down something. And so we see the next day, he says, at dawn, he went to the temple. At dawn, what is a new dawn? Daylight, a new beginning, a new thought process, a new idea. When we say in the beginning of the year, it's a new day, it's a new dawn. I think Michael Bublé does a beautiful rendition of that. We have our burning bowl ceremony to burn away what we don't want to carry forward. And the new year, we start setting intentions. It's a new day, it's a new dawn. And in the metaphysical tradition, it's illumination, just like light. It's illumination. So then I will declare that we say we are now teachable. So we're in that court, and we talked about Moses, and the law of Moses was written on stone. And so listening to St. Augustine, which comes from a more traditional way of being, he said, so when Moses' commandments, the 10 commandments, were written in stone, it was for the hard-hearted ones. And I thought, so let's play with that. If the hard-hearted ones were the Israelites leaving Pharaoh, crossing the desert, they were a little scattered. You know, they didn't know what their new group was all about, and yet they were pretty attached to some old ways of being. Now start thinking about this in your world. Something new enters your realm, and you might still be very attached to how it used to be done. Culturally, from your family of origin, maybe you've already got a stick and you've drawn that line and you've said, I'm not yielding. And then we become unteachable. So Moses comes down and he's got these commandments. And what do you remember about the commandments? Beside the 10 commandments, what were the people doing? Right. They did that golden calf. And Moses gets mad, and what does he do? He smashes the tablets. He smashes the tablets. So let's go forward again. We've got Jesus in front of these Pharisees with this woman with an accusation, and there's this old way of being, and yet what is Jesus doing? He's drawing in the sand. We might say he's doodling. So, sometimes when you're contemplating and you've got to get your mind right and you're trying to come up with an answer and you're trying to get the ego out of the way, do you ever doodle? Just kind of, here's your notes. You took notes. You were a good little student. And mine had all these little things going on the side of the page. And today when I'm writing a sermon, I often chew gum. I guess that just gets my ADHD in line. But it's that kind of, I'm trying to figure things out. And now instead of it being hard clay for the hard-hearted ones that don't want to change their ways, he's writing in sand. And what happens in the sand? That hard-hearted way can blow away. What happens when you're near a lake or you're over there at the beach and the water comes in and washes it away? Because we begin a new day, a new dawn once again. And whatever it is that we think is only the way it is, well, not if we're teachable. Maybe there's a new way, a new dawn. So my question, what I danced in, because remember I said these were two very tender-hearted discussions with me earlier in the week, and I thought, well, sometimes outsiders come to you and they tell you something. And it may or may not be true because it's not from the first source. So now my question might be, do you know for sure this is what happened? Or are you making something up to fit your story about it? And that's hard. That's hard. We might be a little righteous and say, but you don't understand. I myself have been through this, and I heard. And then you're probably talking to another one of your friends, and probably at church, or in the parking lot, or at the dining room table. And if someone overhears you, and they take that as the gospel, you might really hurt someone without knowing the truth of what's going on. And then go another step. You do hear from the source. and we are all connected as one. Do we open our hearts for forgiveness? Do we say that was a way of being and a way that you acted out, or a way that I acted out, not in my highest good, not in the highest good of those around me? Can you forgive me? Can you let me make amends, or are you going to put me on that stone tablet forever encrusted in the mountain? And then you could go metaphysical with that one. If you are encrusted in the mountain, where are you? What is the mountain? You're in source. You're in source. So we might say, okay, I'm now aware of a situation and it's very uncomfortable. And we have to come up with a decision of how to handle it. And so often in unity, especially with ministers, especially with congregants, we ask that you come forward and have that real conversation, and we'll call that a courageous conversation, because no one likes judgment passed on them. And so what did we see with all those elders around the woman in an accusation? And Jesus basically said, thou without sin, without error thinking, will you just come on and stone this woman? And what did they do? They laughed. Because we all go through what we go through. We all go through periods of not showing up as our highest good. And sometimes it affects other people. Sometimes it's really, really hard. So what I really loved about this song that we just heard, we heard this tenderness of a woman who'd really been through it. She talked about bruises and going through cancer and an ex-husband who didn't show up. And for that very instant, when she's waiting on that individual, just in the moment, in the present moment, this is the best job of my life. Right now, right here, having this experience right now. So we've all messed up at some place, sometime. Relationships give us a great area to mess up in. And then we're like, okay, so I did mess up and I didn't show up as my highest good. But right now, can I have breakfast with you? You, like I get shivers. Whoo, whoo, whoo. So that it's like, well, now we got seals barking. Here we go. But I'm like, seriously, you have that one moment. I'm going to tell you a real true story, and my son would kill me for this. We had a little out when he was in his 20s, went off to college. I had certain rules in my house, and he broke them. And I mean, he's not 15 or 16. He's probably about 25. So I told him to get his stuff and get out. Hard-hearted mom, tough love mom. But I had rules, and he wouldn't obey them. So he did leave, and while he was gone, almost 6 months, he lived in his SUV. And he said he would pull into the parking lot of the grocery store, and every morning he got up, and he'd go in and get one apple and something to drink. And this woman watched him over a series of a few days, and she said, now, honey, you know us Southerners, honey, if you get a whole bag of apples and you get a whole realm of those drinks, you'll save some money. And he said, I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. Today in this present moment, this is what I can do. Now I'll share another little piece of that softened my heart or made me think about things differently. Another one of these very same grocery stores within a 5-mile radius, there had been a young teenage couple on their little romantic jaunt, and they weren't known where they were at the hours of night, and there was someone who was not healthy and whole and murdered both of them. Teenagers, high schoolers. At that moment, I called my son and said, come home, until we got him straightened out. And then fast forward, when I sold the house, he went, I guess I have to move. Yes, he did, and he's been independent ever since. But we learn our lessons the way we do, and sometimes we soften so that you can come back in, and sometimes we do that tough love hardening and say, you know what, you're old enough now. It's time for you to learn these lessons and go forward. But then what about this sweet, gentle song and that wisp of an air that we go, oh, we want it to be ever after. We want everything to work out in the world. And sometimes it doesn't. But for a moment, just for a moment, two hearts met. in full acceptance. No matter what was going on in the outer world, I see you. I see you. I know you. Because we are one essence and one soul. So I've been bringing in Mel Robbins, so I'm going to have to bring a little piece of her into us as well. And with her, she's got these 5 questions. So in the world, you're not sure what's going on, and you're not sure how to react to something that's going on. She says, her 5 questions. Why does this person's behavior bother me so much? Why does this person's behavior bother me so much? And then we have an opportunity to look inside ourselves and say, because I've come up against this before. And now all of a sudden, is it about the other person? No. It's all about you. It's all about you. And then her second question, why does this bother me so much? And then we get to go a little deeper. And a little deeper because we tend to learn when things are repetitive. And then the third question, what do you think it is? Why does this bother me so much? And then you go even a little deeper into what that's all about. And I'll bet you'll never guess the fourth question. Why does this bother me so much? And now you're doing your inner work. You're doing that stuff that is no longer about that other person whatsoever. It is all about, what are my trigger points? What have I learned? What am I willing to release? What am I willing to forgive? Including in myself. Because you know what? All these interactions we have, it's never about them. It's always our bigger lessons. And that 5th question is... Yeah, really. I got lost in the 5 too. So Mel says, give yourself permission to get to the root cause, even if you discover something ugly about yourself. And I can hear my grandmother. If you've got something ugly to say, don't say nothing at all. And then Mel says, allow yourself to be honest. When you're doing this inner work, it's your work. It's what you signed up for. It's what you said, I'm teachable, I'm ready. Let's go that deeper place. When you see it's been about you all along and your need to control, oh man, really? I got to control something again? And your need to control, it is easier to drop the pressure and just let them be. Just let people be who they are. And we do have the right to call healthy boundaries. If that's encroaching upon your boundaries and for your own safety, well-being, mental health, well, all that good stuff, if you got to say, you know what? I can see you at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Don't call me about that politician later. Like, we done. Then you get to call the healthy boundary. And where's that soft place to open your heart and say, I forgive me for holding these grudges. I forgive me for putting that stick in the sand, that Jesus writing. And I thought, you remember, did any of you guys ever go for a vacation in the family car? Did you have a sibling in the family car? Did you say, there's a line right here, don't cross it? And we're all worried about, because you don't want mama or daddy to say, I'm pulling over the car. So when is that line drawn so stiffly, do not cross this line? And when are you ready to be teachable? Be teachable. For each and every one of us, decide what that line is. We decide what those doodles are. Sometimes we're putting it together and we need some wisdom outside of ourselves, and we go to our mentors and our teachers. And sometimes we just go to the mountain and we become very still. And we recognize it was never about them anyways. It's about us and having the courage to face what sometimes might be thought of as being ugly. So for people who are new with us today, for people who are joining us online, we are inviting you to come in and be part of this spiritual community. We have oodles of things beginning to happen. And one thing I wanted to share, because I was so grateful that the men allowed me to be part of their group. And I said, I don't have to come every week. Just let me come pray and listen to what's up with you guys. So if you don't know, we have an incredible men's group. And when they talk to each other, they're creating a safe space to share what's going on in their lives. And when I was with them yesterday, I said, you know, men or women, we all want to be heard. We want to be valued. We want to be seen. And sometimes as we're beginning to age and our bodies are changing, we wonder, what is my relevance today in community? So check online. We definitely have a men's group. We've got some women that are doing some fabulous things. And then I want to invite you to a party. And you're going to hear about it in a little while because I just got news of it this past week. And there might be this football game going on today that has some relevance to Denver. What was I told? Make sure you wrap it up before 1 o'clock. And then on the 8th of February, what is it? Super Bowl. So we have some beautiful folks that are going to throw a Super Bowl party here. So we got to keep holding the high watch and the high intention that there are going to be some Broncos dancing around in the Super Bowl. And, you know, winning that bowl, of course. So just play around, come to our website, come and join us here physically, be part of the community, make some time with me alone if we need to learn what your doodles mean, so that we know this is a family, this is community, this is a place where you can lay down those burdens and say, you know what, I too have messed up sometimes, and I'm still in it. I'm still in the works. I'm still this beautiful creation, this divine expression that we call God. For we believe truly there is no separation here. And just for those of you who want to doodle a little bit, like kindergarten, we're going to do a little cut and pasting on February 7th and do our treasure mapping with me from 10 to 7. So bring your healthy snacks, bring your magazines, and know that you can play with us and be part of this larger community that I'm going to call whole, holy sanctuary. And so it is. Amen. Yep.
Sure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so this is that time in our service where we get to give. And the most important thing that we can give is give thanks. So we give thanks for you, Reverend Tracey. We give thanks for that powerful message that just wove in and through everything. We give thanks for Jeremy. And we give thanks for all of your intentions, all of the ways you give, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. When you give of your time and your efforts and your attention, it all matters and it all helps. So if you would join me for our affirmation, holding your intentions, your gifts to your heart. We hold your gift to your heart. And we say together, hold your gift to your heart and fill it with intentions of grace, love, and peace. Know that this is gold into the world, blessed and multiplied, serving this community and the world to the fullest. And so it is. Thank you for holding this space of abundance and generosity. Do we have kiddos today? Smart parents. I want to call up Marley. She has some information for you.
Hi, everybody. We are in the throes of needing candidates for our board. There are 4 openings, and it is an honor to be on the board. I was on the board after Ariana left. We had no interim minister. We had to have visiting ministers all the time. We had challenges within the board. But I'm going to say something. It is the most wonderful way we can put our principles to work, because we are with one another. We got to let our egos go, because we all have feelings about things. Being able to act as a board and be a representative of the light on the mesa. It means that all of us need to bring our light. The board is a way you learn about the church, you learn about people, you understand unity, and you get to use the principles with people who are like thinkers. And together we can truly become the light on the mesa. And the board is a big part of that flame. So I really invite you to consider joining the board. Myself, Susan Anderson, who's not here, and Patricia Yeager, who is the present president of the board, will be leaving us, but she's also on the nominating committee. So if you have any interest in it, please see me or any of the other people when they're here. You can also call Yo Lauder and ask questions. We've got a packet of information that we can give you as to what the board member is all about, and what's expected, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So please let me know. If you just want information, just let me know. So I hope to see some of you on the board.
Here we are, we don't know what for. We've got all we need, but we're fighting for more than we say. Hey, I am okay. We still fight every day, and we spin, chasing our tails. Those stories we live by, they lock us in jail. Though we say, hey, well, I am okay, we still chase every day. And it's hell in a hamster wheel, running in place from all we feel. Imagine what we could do if we stopped those things we do and rode the love down Life Avenue. You know, we don't stand a chance when all of our regrets come and ask us to dance. Though we say, hey, I don't like that tune, it still sweeps us away. And these strings, they're so tightly wound, and all of our frets make such sorrowful sounds. Though we say, hey, well, I am okay, we still fret every day. And it's hell to be so afraid of changes to plans our hands have made. Oh, what our hands might do if they dropped those things they do and picked up love on the Life Avenue. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da. Da da ba da ba ba da la da la da la da da wa ba Grant us the will to rest and watch it all work out for the best. We'll have a better view if we stop those things we do. Ride the love down Life Avenue.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you so much. All right, so as Reverend Tracey said, there are a lot of wonderful things happening on our behalf, on the world's behalf, and that starts with Lunch and Fellowship Hall. Can't save the world on an empty stomach, people. So for the newbies, if you would join us after, veterans will welcome you, hug you, conversate with you. But we have a potluck in Fellowship Hall just down the hall. And a reminder that our very own Teresa is here holding safe space if you need prayer for celebration or concerns. So the Board of Trustees nominations now open. Sign up right away. There's a packet available for you if you are interested in nominations for the Unity Board or know a Unity member who may be interested. There are packets available, or you can go to Unity at unityinthorockies.org for more information. Applications must be turned in to the Unity office by Thursday, February 5th at noon. Reminder, elections and other board business will be held on Sunday, the Ides of March 15th, right? From 12 to 2, in person here in the sanctuary and online via Zoom. Check out the bulletin board in the hallway, the weekly newsletter, and Facebook for more information. Did somebody say Super Bowl party? Super Bowl party, hosted by Steve Smith, is scheduled for Sunday, February 8th. Setup starts at 3 p.m. in the Unity Fellowship Hall. Join us to watch the game, eat good food, talk smack, have fun, bring friends, and a delicious appetizer to share. Unity Prayer Chaplain programs. Are you interested in becoming a prayer chaplain? We have your annual chaplain training scheduled for 2 sessions in February on the 14th. Pray in love, people, pray in love. And the 21st from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Unity. If you're interested, then please pick up a chaplain program brochure from the Unity office. Fellowship potluck. We love to eat together, talk together, pray together. We also need to wash dishes together. So, if you are here on Sundays and can stay for a little bit after you eat, please help us with cleaning tables and dishes. It would be greatly appreciated. And all of this and more is available in the Unity newsletter, Unity name tags if you need one. Check with your lotter in the office, Facebook pages, and our calendars. Please check us out. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all of you on Zoom. Thank you for your time and intention, your attention. Thank you so much for being here and shining light on this cold winter day. Will you please stand and join me for the prayer of protection? The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Join us. We've got singing. We got singing.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God our Creator. We are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with